What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of our Dynasty Sophomore Spotlight Series here at Masters Fantasy Football, the premier place to play fantasy football. We love our Dynasty leagues. We got season-long leagues, too. We got it all. Come be a part of the family. Next up on our Sophomore Spotlight Series is Henry Ruggs. So the inaugural one was his college teammate, Jerry Jeudy. Both kind of had disappointing rookie years, but I got to be honest. You look at the numbers, and Jerry Jeudy's rookie year was about twice as good as Henry Ruggs was. And Ruggs was drafted first, too. Mike Mayock and John Gruden made him the first wide receiver off the board just a year ago. A class that featured names like Justin Jefferson, names like CeeDee Lamb, names like Jerry Jeudy, and a whole lot more. So Henry
Probably not
Ruggs,
many receivers on the list that did worse than that.
Correct, yes. So
especially those first rounders.
So yeah, we'll talk about his rookie year a little bit. I just had the stats pulled up. Let me pull them up again. So he played in 13 games, which is a pretty decent amount of games.
Solid durability.
Was listed as a starter for all 13 of those games, and only came away with 26 receptions. That's 2 catches a game, 452 yards, 2 touchdowns. I do want to say he did have that big game-winning touchdown against Greg Williams' Jets defense when they called the all-out blitz. So that was the highlight.
Probably the softest defense he's ever played against.
So that was the highlight of Henry Ruggs' career, which you could make the case where if Greg Williams just wasn't there, he would have had only 25 catches and one less touchdown.
Yeah, if Dr. Heat didn't dial up another blitz.
So the stats were not pretty his rookie year. But how we feeling, Doc? How we feeling?
I feel the numbers are gross, but I feel good about Henry Ruggs. And I will say, this is a guy, a lot of people just see fast 40 and they immediately lump a guy like Henry Ruggs into the John Ross. I'm trying to think of other ones.
Hollywood Brown.
Deshaun Jackson was like kind of an outlier because he actually produced for some years. But,
Philip Dorsett.
Guys like that. Philip Dorsett. I'll even go back Darius Hayward-Bay. People just kind of like to group those guys in there, and just assume they're not going to actually produce it at a high level in terms of fantasy, which, was right for those guys. But I think Henry Ruggs is a lot more complete than all those guys we just named except for, like, Deshaun Jackson. He's got a really good all-around skill set. He's more than just the speed. He's an incredible athlete, too. If you've ever seen videos of him dunk a basketball, it's disgusting.
I'm just looking at his combine because it was amazing, obviously.
Incredible.
The blazing 4.27 40, but a 42-inch vertical, absolutely unreal. And, the document, those dunks, that's where the vertical shows.
He's an incredible athlete.
Another thing I just absolutely love about his size and stuff, he has huge hands, over 10-inch hands. And I don't know, for me, just something about a receiver with big mitts. I love seeing Odell and Jarvis snatch those balls with big hands. And even though he's small, Ruggs has some big hands. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. I will say, like, when they drafted him, I was pretty clear, like, Gruden's got to use him. Like, you don't take a guy that early and don't use him. Because, like, I feel like all those speed guys run into the same problem where it's just they're like a decoy.
Yep.
And I feel like last year they kind of used Ruggs as a decoy, which was really disappointing because I thought they'd be creative with him. I thought they'd get him the ball on, like, screens and little things like that just to get him touches and let him use his speed and athleticism. That didn't happen. But I have a lot of faith that this year there's an increased likelihood of him getting the touches that he should have gotten a year ago. So I got a lot of faith in Henry Ruggs because there still really isn't a whole lot to take away from him. They add John Brown. They still have Bryan Edwards, but again,
they lose Nelson Aguilar, so that helps.
So they probably upgrade there, John Brown.
Yeah,
it's whatever. But and again, it's the Waller show and everybody else. So he's got a pretty clear spot in this team, and he's got a great opportunity to be the second fiddle behind Darren Waller in terms of, like, targets and all those things. I need to rely on the Raiders. I know he's talented enough, but they need to be a little more creative than just like, this guy's fast, have him run straight and just, like, pull the safeties over.
Yeah.
So, and I think they will do that. And they've kind of made hints that they're going to get him more involved this year, which makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So I expect him to, at the very least, double those gross numbers from a year ago.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. So I share a lot of the same thoughts. I really believe in the player and the talent. The situation's still a little murky for me, and I just question, how much actual fantasy production will come out of his career, especially in the current state of it with the way the Raiders are. But like I said, I like the player, phenomenal athlete, good hands, can definitely develop into even a really good receiver in terms of route running. Still a lot of room to grow, and I'm optimistic on the player. But in fantasy,
it's the situation.
Yeah, like if you were listening to our Jerry Jeudy's show, obviously I'm way more excited about Jerry Jeudy's potential NFL career going forward. But I'm not done on Henry Ruggs. I'll buy him where I can. I'd probably offer up future seconds for him at this point. I wouldn't give up a first for him for sure.
Right.
But if I could get him for a 2022 second, yeah, I'll do that. Or maybe for a real old veteran that you're just trying to flip. So I'm still slowly trading for him in Dynasty. If I have him, I'm definitely holding. I'm not selling him on the low.
Right.
But yeah, his next year outlook, I think he could double his stats. But even
that wouldn't even really mean a whole lot.
Right, we're talking about 52 receptions for
like 900
yards,
roughly
4 touchdowns. I mean, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad, but just not going to help you win a league.
Yeah, it would be a step in the right direction. I'd feel a lot better if that's what he ended up with.
Agreed. So yeah, I kind of feel like we've hit on all our, we've talked about his rookie year. We've talked about year 2 outlook a little bit in dynasty value. Let's do the thing where, we name a player who would we rather have in dynasty, and then we'll name players for redraft drafts, which I think that,
Okay.
We'll do it.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, so
are rookies allowed? Or
yeah.
Okay. I didn't have one in mind. I just asked for some reason.
Rondale Moore or Henry Ruggs?
Henry Ruggs.
Ooh, I go Rondale.
Ooh,
all right.
I probably would go Rondale, but
yeah. All right, so Henry Ruggs or Elijah Moore?
Jeez, man.
Yeah. So I go Elijah Moore.
Let's not do rookies.
All right.
Yeah. Rookies, I'm just always going to gravitate to the rookie. I tried to say Ruggs, but I don't mean that. I want my guy Rondale.
All right. Let's go year 3 players. Well, I mean, we don't have to do that, but Mike Williams or Henry Ruggs?
Henry Ruggs.
Okay, I like it.
And I like Mike Williams.
Yeah,
too.
I think Mike Williams has a decent year this year, but I still don't love Mike Williams long term. I think availability is always going to be a concern.
I don't know. I'm going back on it a little bit now. It hurts. This is the thing. I really like Henry Ruggs, but every time I think about him, I think about John Gruden, I think about Derek Carr, and I think about the fact that he only got 26 catches last year in 13 games. Yeah. That's only 2 a game. That's really low.
I think Henry Ruggs will be a better football player than his fantasy stats ever represent.
I have a feeling it's going to be that.
Yeah.
Until he ends up in a place that's, with somebody that can actually be creative with him and use him correctly. Because last year he was used incorrectly, just plain and simple.
Yep.
And I don't know if he was ready or not to handle a full load because, again, weird off season with COVID and all that stuff. And, we've been through that. So I understand. But, if it happens again this year, then, then there's really nothing you could do about it.
Right.
But again, it's a perfect opportunity to buy him.
All right. I'm going to come up with a couple more dynasty would you rather have because I feel like redraft might be hard because I don't see much redraft value.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm hardly draft him in redraft.
I can just say right now, there's no sense in even talking about him in redraft.
Yeah, I agree. I think he
I could probably name
redraft
like
leagues,
40 other receivers.
Yeah, he'll probably go undrafted in most standard redraft
I would
leagues.
say so. Maybe like a last round or 2 flyer. Because
let's highlight a few more dynasty players. Who would you rather have?
Okay. I have to rack my brain.
Yeah. All right, Corey Davis or Henry Ruggs? I'm going to go Corey Davis. Yeah.
I feel like this is easy. Yeah. Sorry, Henry. I like you. I think you're a good player. It's not your fault.
Yeah. All right, Hollywood Brown or Henry Ruggs?
Oh, boy.
I think I'm going to go Ruggs here.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's enough for me because I feel like, they add Sammy Watkins and they draft Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
And I feel like Henry Ruggs legitimately is a better all-around receiver than Hollywood Brown.
Agreed.
And also Hollywood Brown's like 150 pounds.
Right.
So.
Yeah. At least Ruggs is like 185, 190.
And I really do like Hollywood Brown, too. It's just,
Yeah.
I didn't trust him with Lamar in the first place. Now they've actually added other receivers to throw to, so.
All right, let's stick on the Hollywoods. Ruggs or Hollywood Higgins?
Ooh. I'll take Ruggs.
I'll get Ruggs, too, just the upside.
I love Higgins, but,
Ruggs or Michael Gallup?
Ooh. Gallup.
I'm gonna go Gallup.
Probably Gallup. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try and think of one more tough one, and then that's all I got in me.
I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah.
I just kind of took the redraft and I said, we're not doing
it. Yeah, I'm glad.
Let's see.
Ruggs or Darnell Mooney? Two similar players.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So, all right. I know most of you guys know all about Darnell Mooney, but two similar players, both small speedsters, dynamic players. Both came out last year. One was the first receiver drafted in the entire draft. The other one was like a 5th-round pick. Neither one of them are really in a great fantasy situation, but one might be viewed as better than the other. So Darnell Mooney or Henry Ruggs.
That's tough because, like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking A-Rob's probably not going to stick around.
Right.
So, like, long term, I want to say Mooney, but I'll stick with Ruggs for now.
So for me,
that's a tough one.
And I think for me, it kind of illustrates the perfect point we were getting to on Ruggs. I think Ruggs is a better receiver than Darnell Mooney. I really do. And I think there's a lot of data to back that up in terms of the reason he was the first receiver off the draft board. Darnell Mooney was a 5th-round pick or whatever it was. But for fantasy, I think Darnell Mooney will put up more fantasy points the next few years. So I would trade Ruggs for Mooney or vice versa. I would rather have Mooney, even though I think Ruggs is a better player. So
yeah, that's the perfect way to explain it, I think. Because, realistically, it's Dynasty. Ruggs' value is very low right now. So that kind of, it makes our point here. Because, in a situation like that, I'm betting on the talent. And it very well could hurt me because Darnell Mooney is probably going to get more targets. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to be a bigger part of his offense. If last year told us anything. Yeah. So he'll probably be the better fantasy player. But Ruggs is a guy that I value his talent a lot higher than a lot of guys, but his situation's a little So I'm buying low, have that opportunity to get a guy who's the better player, and hope that his situation works itself out. It doesn't always work that way, but I feel like in Dynasty, situation's huge, but at the end of the day, you gotta bet on talent.
Yep, exactly. Agreed. Yeah. Situation is huge, but you can't change talent for the most part. And situations do change. Yes. They do. So, I'm with you, but I still went Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
But in general, I would rather bet on talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also because I think Darnell Mooney's really talented, too.
Yes.
I just think Henry Ruggs is slightly more talented. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen it, a couple of those times where Darnell Mooney just shook Jalen Ramsey, but then Trubisky threw it 30 yards over his head. Those clips are unreal. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, best corner of the league, and Darnell Mooney hits him with a slant and go, gets 15 yards of separation, and Trubisky can't even hit him. So if Justin Fields can change that, Mooney in for a big year.
Or Andy Dalton.
For
the time being.
Yeah. But, all right, guys, that's all I got on Henry Ruggs. Doc, you want to send us out?
Yes, absolutely. And as we mentioned, no need to talk about redraft. I don't think you should be drafting Henry Ruggs this year in redraft leagues. But Masters Fantasy Football Leagues, as Al mentioned at the start of the show, the premier destination for Dynasty Fantasy Football. Come join a league. It's the best way to play fantasy football, in my opinion, and I think in Alex as well. Mm-hmm. So if you never have, this is the perfect time to start. Sign up for a league. MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com, and we have redraft leagues as well. We really have the whole spectrum of fantasy football. So come be a part of the Masters family. As always, toss a like on the video, leave some comments. Ooh, should we do the same? What are Henry Ruggs' stats this year?
Yeah, all right.
What do you think? Put those in the comments. I'd love to know what you think.
So I'm about double his last year's stats. I'll go 50. I'll go 55 catches.
Okay.
I'll say 812 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Okay. I'll go, 45 catches, 728 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
We're going to have to rewatch these videos at the end of the season. And
see. I actually really want to check these when they're all done. So,
yeah.
There you go.
All right, guys.
And subscribe to the channel, of course.
And any sophomores you want us to talk about, leave them in the comments. We'll be sure to hit them. There's way less sophomores to talk about than there are rookies because a lot of the guys have already, kind of completely phased out of the league. Yep. So any sophomores you're dying to hear about, leave it in the comments. We'll be sure to get a show for you.
Absolutely. There you go.
All right. That's all I got.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.